Hi there, this is Bethany Barnard, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and welcome to 12 weeks to a Wow Christmas with Bethany and Lela. This is project number 7, so there are 6 projects we've done previously. I'd love to have you check out my YouTube channel to see those projects. We have place settings, and we have stocking stuffers and cards, and just an assortment of projects that can help you have a wow Christmas this year. I'd love to have you stop by and see those projects, and even better, if you would subscribe, it would mean a lot to me, and I would appreciate that vote of confidence. So today we are making this 3D train. I'm using the Santa's Delivery Bundle. Cute set, lots of cute sayings, special delivery, elf approved, Merry Christmas, Santa's coming to town, cute little penguin, candy canes, presents, all can go inside the train, tree that can go on top, puffs of smoke, just a cute little train set. And the dies, in addition to cutting out all of the stamped images, not the sayings, but the stamped images, there's also a wreath, a train track, 2 for the penguins, 2 for the signs, and then there's also this bow, which we will be using today. So nice set of dies that go with this set. So let me show you this project. So we have this Santa's train. It does actually pull. You can see it will pull across the table. And in each little box, these are the bows, by the way, that are die cut. I've put a little Ferrero Rocher, but there are other, the Lindt chocolate balls also fit in here. You could fit a number of Kisses and other chocolates, I'm sure will fit in here as well. We did use the reverse stamped image method. So I've got both sides stamped and colored in. And we've got the little smokestack. So you could just really make this as simple or as elaborate if you'd like. I have heard of some people adding not just the 2 cars, and you could, by the way, do this with just the 1 car coming, train car. But some people have talked about doing the whole 24 cars plus the engine, making it an Advent train. I mentioned to my grandson today, who's about 4 years old, that I was going to put these on our table at Christmas, and he just thought that was the best thing ever. So even an adult likes to open up a little chocolate. So it's just very cute, and I'm looking forward to showing you how to make this. And we'll move it over here as I show you everything that you will need to make this train as you see it here. Actually, I've got a few extra bonuses too if interested. Whoa! Okay, so here's what you'll need. You need 3 pieces of DSP that are cut at 6.5 by 4.5. And I'm going to put out the measurements of scoring as well, and I'm going to show you how they're scored. But to begin with, you need 3 of these. You can get 3 of these from one sheet of 12 by 12. And I do recommend that you find a pattern such as this one or this one that doesn't have a direction to it. It's okay if it does, but this just makes it a little bit easier for the boxes. Okay, additionally, you're going to want a train, a car. I'm going to show you here that I have cars, 2 cars going in this direction, and then you need a train and 2 cars going in this direction. Now I have already stamped inside these trains with the exception of this one because I want to be able to show you how to stamp inside that. I've also done these trees to go on top. So I have this one going in that direction, this one going in the opposite direction, and this direction. And that's how we get train pieces for either side of this box. And I am going to take you through 2 different ways that you can do that. You're going to want some, this is the vanilla glimmer paper. It's just used for the smoke puffs, And also because I have the red paper here that will be the presents, I actually made the bows. And I, by the way, found out another use for these Ferrero Rocher trays. What do you think of this? I have, let me see if I can pull this off. So I have the 3 chocolates here that we're gonna need to put in the train, but I've put the little bows in here, and I've put the different puffs of smoke in here that we'll use. But see, this is, the glimmer is for the smoke and for this bow, because I think this will show up better on the red DSP. Puffs of smoke. And then also in here, which boy, this would be easy to lose, is window sheet that's cut at 1.5 by 2 inches. And it will be trimmed down as we put it together, and you'll see that. But how about this little tray for keeping small pieces? That happened accidentally, but I'm glad that it did. Okay, so that's everything that you would need, and I'm gonna put up here, except you'll need black Memento ink, and then I'm gonna tell you, I used soft suede, but really any brown would work for the trunk of the Christmas tree. This is Daffodil Delight, but really any yellow for the star. And then this is real red. I've used the dark in all of these because it's just quicker. So the real red is our red on the train, and I use Grainy Apple Green for the green, and then I use Flirty Flamingo for the pink. But really, you can color these however you want. I went by the Designer Series paper to come up with how I colored these in. And it is possible, the Designer Series paper does have images that you can cut out with the dies, but you won't get the reversed image that way. Now you could at least do one set on one side if you didn't care so much about whether or not the other side matched. But this is how we can move forward for making our little train set. So I am going to leave here a little indicator of everything that I've just gone over so that you can possibly take a quick snapshot of everything that you would need and where we score in order to make this train. Okay, so I'm going to remove that, and then I am going to take you through the scoring of the DSP. And this is just to make boxes that are basically 1.5 inches cubed. So what I did was I took this, and if you remember every 1.5 inches, that's really all it is, both in this direction and this direction. So in the long ways, it means 1.5, 3, 4.5. You probably can't see that, right? And let me see, and then I messed up. Okay, so 1.5, 3, 4.5, and then 6. And that just leaves us a little tab here, and I'm going to show you how to cut each of these. And then you cut at then you score at 1.5 and 3. So in both cases, you're just going every 1.5 inches until you run out of paper. Okay, and we're gonna cut these and put them together. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now so that you can see how to put these together. But I have already put together 2 others so that once you watch me put one of these together, I won't repeat it 3 times and take up the time of the video. Sometimes it's easier. Go ahead and have a look and see if it's easier to see your score lines more on one side than the other. For me, I'm finding it easier to see the score lines here. Now you can, it helps sometimes to go ahead and fold these on the score lines. So we're gonna do that because that can also help you to see those score lines come up. So we get those done. It also kind of gives you a better eye for where just the center of a score line is, and that can help you to be more accurate in your cutting as well. But these are pretty forgiving boxes, okay? So on the end where you have this 1/2 inch score, because you stopped at 6, in this center 1/2 inch, you are gonna angle right to where these two score lines intersect. The reason being, this is gonna be the tab that goes into your, and speaking of being able to see it, it's pretty far away from me, but I think I can do this. Okay, so you are gonna take off these little rectangles here and the 2 squares next to it. There you go. And then we're gonna just cut up here. And we'll cut this completely off. And then this side completely off. Okay, so that leaves you with this. Now on these 2 sides, we're gonna just cut up where these score lines are. And what I'm about to tell you is pretty general for any box that we make. This middle tab here, we're gonna miter, but not either of these 2 ends. So you'll see that as I do that one. Okay, so now I'm coming in now. And that's really what we've done at this tab here as well. And just eyeball it. I start maybe 1/4 of an inch out, and then I take it right to where that corner mark is. It just folds easier that way. Okay, and this is going to be real quick and easy to put together. So then what I'd start with is these 2 end pieces that we have mitered. And I like this end piece to go on last. So I'm going to take the one closest to the top piece. And I'm going to fold that over. And I'm just going to square it up. And then I'm going to put some, let's see, I can see, by doing that, I can see that you want this flush with the bottom here. And then I'm going to do this piece. And I'm going to bring that flush up. And the reason I do that outside one last is because that puts the edge to the back of the box. It did just occur to me, but that'll be okay. All right, so now same thing, start with the middle here. And we're gonna put the one closest to the lid first. Close that up, squaring it up. And then put some glue on here again. This is just DSP, so it really doesn't take a lot of glue. There we go. And then we have that all squared up, and you can see it will just tuck down in there like that, right? In fact, if you tuck it down too much without a chocolate in there, you can lose it for a bit. I think that's good. All right, so this is a good time to go ahead and put the bows on. So I'm gonna do that now. And I have, let's see, I'm gonna make the lid go toward the front of the train, but I like for my bows to sort of point to where you open. I don't know if that makes any sense, and I don't know if it matters. But that's what I do. So I have found that these mini dimensionals right in the center of the bow fit perfectly. And then when I put them on here, it also gives me something to help open that. See, I can just grab that bow and get that lifted up. You can go in here, if you wanted to, you could use a small hole punch to get a little finger hold here, but I just find that works just as well. And I'm going to take this opportunity now to go ahead and put that Ferrero Rocher in there. And I'm going to set this box aside. I've shown you how to make this box, so now I'm going to take a box that I made earlier and I'm going to put the bow on it, because I wanted you to see all the pieces on how to make this project before I put it all together, but I also wanted to do as much as I could in advance. Keep the video from being too long, because once you know how to make a box, you just know to make 3 of them, right? So there we go. And then here's one that I've already colored and adhered, because I'm going to take you through that with the other 2 boxes. But again, same principle. Once you see how to do that, you will be safe to make the final card. So I'm going to take you through that, but this one's already done. Oh, I've done it again where I didn't put the chocolate in first. It's easier too to put that bow on. I could have laid this flat and done it, or there's probably other ways I should have done that, but I knew I was doing it at the end so that I could work ahead here. Okay, so that's the last car done. So what we are going to do next is I want to show you how you would stamp the reverse of these. Now there's 2 ways that you can stamp reverse, and I'm going to show you with the Stamparatus how you can do that. Now, I have 2 templates here, one for the train engine and one for the train car. Here's the one for the train car. Now it's very important that I first put this silicone mat, and I still have some of this left. It shouldn't matter because I'd be stamping in the exact same place, but just to be sure, I'm going to clean that up. That was just a baby wipe that I used there. In fact, I'm going to turn that over so it's not damp while I do this. But this is our silicone mat. Very handy dandy tool. It's only $6.50, and I highly recommend it. So what happened here is I put my train car on here. I stamped it, I inked it up, stamped it, then I cut it out. And now I know that I have a template where I can put this piece in here, ink that up, and stamp it. But that will only give me a car in that direction. I'm going to try and show you both sides of this and how that would work. So is this off screen? Let me move this just in case, because it probably is. Okay, so I am inking up. Some people put like a stamp set underneath here. I could do that, but I haven't. Okay, and when I close this, you will see that I've got a stamped image on my car. Now that's just a usual, typical, going in the right direction stamped image. But now, how do we make it go in the reverse direction? So I'm going to show you that now too. And there's 2 ways to do this, and this one is with the Stamparatus. So if you have a Stamparatus, it's really kind of a helpful way. Although I do it a little bit different, I think, than some demonstrators. So again, you want to make sure that all those lines have gone down there. it's worth it to take a look. I don't see them. Oh, I do see them. It's kind of dark where I'm stamping right now, and I'm stamping a little further away than I usually do, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 inkings of this. And you'll notice I stamped right on the silicone. Now, I am going to just stick this template in. Instead of stamping again, which is what many people do, I am rubbing my finger all the way across it to make sure that I'm getting every line. Now, once I've done that, it's not going to hurt to stamp again, but you can see, whoops, that here I have this image going in that direction and this image going in the opposite direction. So that's how you can get a reverse image for your trains. Now I could show you that again with the train engine, but it's exactly the same principle. What you're trying to do is ink up the silicone, put that on here, close this. Whoops, wrong one. I have another door with the train engine on it. Here. And it would fit right in there. And I'd ink it up twice before I put the die cut, the blank die cut in there. So that's how you get the reverse image. It's such a great technique, and it just requires this silicone pad and a Stamparatus. But what if you don't have a Stamparatus? Which, by the way, I love my Stamparatus, so I'm not sure why people wouldn't have it, but I do understand that if you're just starting out stamping, there's a lot to buy. So I wanted to show you, and I'm going to clean this up because it's still got residue of the train car on there. And so now I turned it over again, hoping that now this side is dry. I just wanted to show you that even if you don't have a Stamparatus, you can still do this. Now I only brought, I hope this is okay. I'd like to almost show you a bigger image like the train, but I didn't bring with me the bigger blocks. So this is just the tree, and it might look like I didn't get it all done because the tree, as I can show you here, it's not a full tree. It's just a piece of the tree that lays on top of the car. So I'm not sure if you'll see that the whole image has come up, but you'll just have to trust me on that. So what you do is you stamp directly on the silicone mat, and this is if you don't mind fussy cutting. And then you just take a piece of white, same thing, rub your finger over it, and then I'm going to turn it around, and you can see that's exactly the stamped image, but in reverse. And that's what I've done in advance. Now, if you don't have a Stamparatus, you're going to have to freehand die cut this. But if you have a Stamparatus, the beauty of that is that you can fit it into that template, which means that you're cutting on the back side of the template, and it's going to cut out exactly right. But if you don't mind freehand stamping and you don't have a Stamparatus, you can just use your silica mat to do a reverse image. So I hope that made sense for everyone. I think it's such a handy dandy way to get that reverse image that we want, you know, more often than you realize. Okay, so I have pre-colored a steam engine and a car going on the back side. And so I need here to color in, and I thought I would do this to show you how, oh, I know what I wanted to do. I want to also show you how to stamp in. See the difference here? I have, in this one, I've done candy canes and presents, but I haven't put any here. So I wanted to show you how I did that because There is this stamp, which I don't know if you can tell, but it has these presents, but it also has a pennant flag that flies. But if I put that here, there's no room for the candy canes. And I really like the candy canes and the presents. So I wanted to show you how you can put all of that into this car. So I'm just putting this little Post-it note right at the edge of the window of this car. And I'm going to use my Memento black ink again. And because we can see right through this, I'm doing it so that the pennant is on the Post-it note, but the presents go right in the window. So you see when I pull this up, they look like they're right in that window part. So that's called masking, another helpful and useful technique. And then I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to add my candy canes. And they are fun. So now I have 2 trains going in the right direction and the 2 back bits that I need. Now, I don't need one of these, I'm realizing. So I'm going to go ahead and put one away because we need to do another train car and another train engine. So we are going to color in these pieces and we'll be good to go. Now at the beginning of this video, I showed all of the pieces you'd need and all the pieces to color, but I've already done these 2 and I've already done this one on both sides. And I got my whole color scheme from the Designer Series paper. You of course can color these whatever color you want and you know, just go from there. But these are the colors I used, which I kind of already went over. So I'm going to start with my red, and I'm going to basically color this one to match that. It's technically the opposite side. Not all of mine of the trains that I've made so far match, but I don't think that's important. I don't think very many people are going to turn them around to check that out, but I think I have managed to make them match definitely more than necessary. So this is the real red, and I also want to do it in this piece here. And then I'm gonna put real red on this bow for this present. And of course my candy canes need red, don't they? Just every other one. You'll see it doesn't take much to color these in. Let's see. Let's do this one. Just as long as it's every other one, I think we're good to go. All right, so is that everything that I do in red? I believe it is, except for something that I'm going to do at the end. Okay, now I'm going to use my green on this. And there's these little circles here that I'm going to do in green, and then along the top here. By the way, if your image doesn't come out very well, or you don't think it's complete when you do that reverse image, stick your template back in and rub your finger over where, don't re-ink it, rub your finger over where you missed some lines and it should pick them up. Also, once you color in, it's very forgiving of any missing lines. So the sample that I showed you came up pretty well, so I can't show you how to redo it, or I guess I should have intentionally not picked up all the color. And then we're going to do this bottom here too. But you can see how with blends, you could use watercolor pencils, you could, there's all sorts of things you could do if you didn't want to spend all this time coloring, but I think it colors up pretty quickly. So I'm going to do this present pink, and I'm going to do this present pink. You know what? I forgot to do that present green and the bow green. So I'm going to do that now. And you can see that with this simple image and drawing, you really don't need to do any kind of shading because it's not really it's more of a funsical, whimsical kind of look. Okay, I've already done all the presents now. Okay, so now I always just come in. As I said, I really took this from the designer series paper because sometimes I don't want to think, what colors do I want these? The only thing is I think I switched them out a little bit on Santa's train because I wanted him to have a red suit, and they have him in a plaid suit or a plaid jacket anyway. And I just really wanted my Santa to have the traditional red suit. So I did change that up. And I didn't want this red. I think in the paper, the engine's red where his arm sticks out, but then I knew it wouldn't show, so I changed that to green. So, you know, I used a little bit of license, but for the most part, I got my ideas of what colors based on the paper. So this is real red, the pink is Flirty Flamingo. I'm just going over these lines, and you'll notice in different places I kind of go further than I need to, but it's just so forgiving. Okay, so that's the car colored. And now we just have another engine going in the opposite direction. And this ends up being red, every other red, kind of like a candy cane, but with pink in between. And even in this doesn't really have a line, but I noticed that in the DSP, they still managed to put pink in here. So I've done the same, even though there's no lines for it. Okay. And now I'm going to do this front bit pink. And red. And then let's see. I am gonna do a real red along the top here. This is because, if you remember, I wanted to do his arm hanging out on green. So I'm gonna take my green, fill in the wheel bit here, and this little, there's a name for this on a train, and I probably knew it when my kids were little, but I don't know it now. It's not hard to color this in and not worry about the lines. And I just go right over this black design on here because the black does show through, so that you don't have to worry about that. I didn't change the color on it. I think on the DSP maybe that is a different color, but I found it's just easier to color it in. And let's see. Oh, look it. I never colored in his little bit green here. And I am going to do that now on here. Okay, another thing that I didn't do, which I want to do on his little cheeks, is right above his glasses, just give him those rosy cheeks that he's known for, right? Here we go. I wonder if I should put little lips there, but I won't. Not now. Okay, because you know, you do it on a video and suddenly you have messed up. Okay, so I'm going to do his... Now I kept his mittens white. I have thought about using some of our puff paint to do his beard. Is it puff paint? Something like that, and I do have some. But I always want to try and show too much on these videos. Okay, so mostly I just want you to see how easy it is to color him in. As I said, you could use our watercolor pencils as well, and markers, whatever you're comfortable with or whatever you own. And I'm going to come in and do this in the pink again. Did I do this red? I did. I think I'm going to do it green on this side. Oh, I did it on green here, so I'm good to go. Like, at least I'm consistent with what I think will look nice. So right now I'm putting this in pink, and I'm going to take this green because there's green underneath all of this part of the car, so to make it match, I'm going to do this in green as well. And then just to define the zigzag line a little bit more, and of course, you know, if you're in a hurry, you don't have to do that much. But I'm going to go over each line with my red marker just to, that kind of gives it depth, even though it's pink and red. I think it does help. Then I come right under here with the red and basically outline it, even the wheels. So here we go. I don't know, it's just something I like. There we go. And so there's our train. And so now we're ready to put the rest together. Okay, so, two things that we can do first are our Christmas trees. And this will be the first time, ladies and gentlemen, that I have actually put the trees on in advance. Now, I already have these trees on this last one because I finished this entire car. But I am going to want the tree to go here. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue along the very edge of this. But you can see, because this one's actually cut out with the die, but you see how it's not a full tree. It's just a, you know, the idea is that it's on top of a car. A train car, that is. Okay, so now that I have the glue on there, I'm going to just come here and stick the train on top of the glue, which sticks the tree on top of the train. There we go. And then to have its counterpart, I'm going to do the same thing here, going in the opposite direction. Okay. It doesn't matter too much if this is exactly the same as where this would be. But you know what? That is pretty close. Look at that. Okay, so that's our train. And so I'm going to take one of these boxes. It doesn't matter which one. I have this box opening this way though, so I want this one. I want all the bows to go in the same direction. So that means that I am going to put this on the front. And I do that by putting glue on the side of the box. And then on here, the wheels actually hang down below it. So I want the bottom of the car flush to the bottom of the box. And that's how I decide where that's going. And then the trees should come up above it. And it should hang over a little bit on either side. And then I'll show you how we hitch them together. And so now I need to do it on this side. Same thing. Bring this down to where the bottom of the car is flush with the bottom of the box. But you see the wheels do, my candy's falling out. No wonder it's upside down. It should fall out if it's upside down, I think. Okay, there we go. And there we go. Put our little chocolate back in there. Okay, then we have 2 cars now. And on our trains, and I haven't tried this yet, so we're gonna find this out, that these little pieces here, okay, I have these 2 window sheets, and this is what we're gonna put the puffs on here, okay? So I'm gonna put this underneath, and with glue dots, I'm gonna start with the biggest puff here. And put, oops, right side, because I want the glimmer side out. I am gonna just put this puff here. And then the next biggest size, again with a glue dot. And I'm gonna have that go there. And then the smaller puff. Now I'm thinking about trying something that I haven't done already, and it may not work. Okay, so with the puffs lined up with how I'd want them to come out of the train, now this is when I'm going to trim it. So I had said at the beginning that I want to cut your window sheet 1.5 inches or 1 1/4, either one, by 2, and that gives you the room that you need to be able to trim this out and stagger your smoke puffs up. And it's like the window sheets don't really show, you just see kind of the puffs of smoke coming up over and out the spout of the train. Now, what I haven't done before, so we'll see with this project this time, is I haven't actually done a smokestack on either side of the train. I've only ever done it out of one side. So it will be interesting to see if I like that or not. If I do, I might go back and put smoke on both sides of the train. But what I was thinking here, so you can see it here, but like you still kind of see it because it's window sheet, you see the other side of it, and I didn't know if we put 2 up, if then it would interfere with it. So that's what we're gonna find out. So at this, you'll notice that I intentionally put a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch underneath the spout when I was deciding where these were gonna go. And that's so that I can put adhesive on it and have it adhere to the inside of the smokestack. I hope that makes sense. And I'm gonna put 2 glue dots on this. So there's 1 and 2. And then we'll come in here and adhere that. And so now I can adhere this to the train. Now I will tell you that in order for this train not to go up-ended, I did have to center this box on the train engine, which means you can see the box a little bit through there, but I think it's not so noticeable unless I tell you that. So, but I just wanted to warn you because I did try it this way so that it actually stuck out the back. But then what happened is this was so weighty on the wheels that it went up. So that's why I centered it instead. I don't know if there's another way that maybe I could have avoided that, but if there is, I haven't taken the time yet to figure it out. It seems like every time I make this, I come up with some new idea to try out. Oh, and that's another thing I've done more than once. So hopefully you'll learn from my mistake just then. You need to not put glue where it shows through on the smokestack here. Basically, you're just centering it on. You want to bring the base of it to meet here, just like we did with the cars, but you want to go ahead and put your wheels, you know, about the same overhang front and back. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead now. I have to squish this in a little bit when I'm manhandling it the way I am. So I'm going to now put this piece on here and try to follow along with where I put it. Now this time though, I am going to remember that there is a quadrant that I am not putting glue on, adhesive on. Okay, so now put that there. I still think about maybe putting some kind of sign along it that says Santa Claus is coming to town. I may actually still do, oh no, you guys. I put my train on the wrong way, or did I? Or can I switch it? I want my boat. No, I didn't. It's fine. See how I worry? And I think it wouldn't have mattered because we've done both sides. Okay, so now the question is, do I want a smokestack coming out of here? I'm going to check that in. I'm going to check that last, because what you still need to see how to do is hook these trains up so that I can pull this one and they'll all come with it. So we're going to take these strips here. As I said in the beginning, these are 2 inches by 3/4 inches, and then they are scored at 3/8 of an inch, and I'll show you that here, and 1 5/8. So 3/8, just under the 1/2 inch mark, and then 1 5/8, which is just past the 1 1/2 inch mark here. And you're going to do that to both of your pieces. And really, if you make your train any longer, you know, add more cars, then you're going to need one for each car you add. So what you're going to do is, and this might be smarter to do once your boxes are made, and I don't always do things the smart way. But I had wanted to have some of this done in advance so you didn't have to wait through me coloring all the trains and stamping them, so that came into this too. But you're going to then turn these pieces up like that, and then we're going to put some glue. These are tabs. They're going to attach to the back of one car and to the front of the other, one at a time. So this lines up exactly with the bottom of the box and about centered. Hopefully you can see that. Bottom of the box, centered, like that. We'll let that one dry for a bit while we do this next one. And you could use other adhesives. I love the liquid glue. I feel like the liquid glue is the strongest adhesive we have. I do think that on this, because it's DSP, the double-sided tape would work, but I honestly feel like the liquid glue is stronger. Okay, so now that we have these two done, I'm going to put glue here. And by measuring the distance the way I did, it allows for, I'm going to hold this down with my finger while I put this one on. If you were doing this yourself, you might do these, hitch these up together. As soon as your box, like hitch up the boxes and then put the sides on, but I didn't really have that ability. Another thing is I do feel like if you know how to make the chain that kind of crisscrosses over, I'm trying to think of what else that would be called, like a jack-in-the-box that comes out, kind of a spring type thing. I have thought that had I made a more complicated hitch here, which I may try out, it might actually, like where you turn the front of the engine, it would, look at, I'm holding it all that time and it didn't stick. So this is where the candy's gonna fall out again because I didn't get to press it together. Anyway, I think it might mean that you could turn that train engine and it would have a little bit of give to turn, which I think could be really cute. But I mean, how long are these little trains gonna last after you're, I mean, they can be decoration the whole Christmas season, you know, on tables or whatever. But that looks good. But I mean, after Christmas, they're not gonna last forever. So it all depends on what kind of personality type you have, probably more than anything. Okay, so that's those so far, and now we just have to put the engine on, and then we'll decide about the puffs on the other side. I can easily do up some puffs because I am pretty sure I'm gonna still make another set of these cute car trains. I have several grandchildren, 12 to be exact. Anywhere from the age of 12 down to, I have what's my youngest grandbaby? 7 months, I think. So they probably don't care yet about the chocolates, but boy, those kiddos in between 12 and 7 months love trains and they love candy. So it's going to be fun to have these out for them. And you know what? We're all kids at Christmas, aren't we? I mean, I think this is even cute. How cute would it be to have even just 2 at every place setting, or, you know, whatever you kind of time you have on your hand to do something special for a neighbor or a Sunday school teacher or whomever that you might be doing it for. Okay, so there, the train is about done. We're just gonna decide about that smokestack. So now I'm just realizing I cannot do that smokestack exactly the same way, but pretty much the same way. What I'm gonna do is, this is the same piece, size and everything as the one before. And I'm gonna take my biggest smoke puff. Is that what it's called, a smoke puff? And I'm gonna put a glue dot on it. I am gonna make sure that I have a little bit of this going down the stack so that I can oh, wait a second, you guys. I was gonna have it go backwards like the smoke was going in front of the train. That's illogical. All right, so now I'm gonna put the smoke. I had to move this. It's hard to see because it's window sheet, but I had to move it so that I was going in the right direction here. So there we go. And now that I've done that, I think I can space these out on here, cut it out, adhere it, and see. But I think I think it might work. I'm not sure. We'll find out. It's certainly okay without the second smokestack. Ooh, and I did it again. I put it on the wrong side. Oh no. It's pretty obvious which side is the right side up. I don't know how I managed to do that twice. Well, I didn't do it twice, but I almost did it twice. Okay, so back to the glue dot, the medium-sized puff, and then finally the smallest puff. I don't know how long this video is. I'm really hoping that by doing so much in advance, this video will not be too long. Okay, so this is gonna go like this. I don't know, you guys will have to help me decide. 1 or 2 smokestacks. The thing is if I put this one on and I don't like it, it won't be that hard to take it off and use it on a different train, so. If you don't try it, you don't know. But you can see I'm just kind of very roughly cutting around the smokestack. You got to make sure that you can't cut it away because you need it to be a line so that it all stays together. But that's what this window sheet's great for. It's just your eye doesn't really see what's in between. And let's see, we'll get this out here. We can put the puff here. I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to turn this all sideways because I know that's what you guys can see on the camera. And you can just let me know, do I add the smokestack or not? I just don't know. So I'm going to wait for your comments and answers. I'm not going to add this yet because I really want to know what your thoughts are on it. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to show you this little train here. These 2 trains. Thank you for paying attention. And let me know, do I add the smokestack to the second side? All right, thank you for watching. Bye.